Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management. You're looking for ways to save money at the office so you can save up for playoff tickets as a company. Well, you can do that with print management. So contact our friends at copiers-plus.com. I'm tired, dude.
It's a good thought process. I like that.
I mean, you got to find ways to save money in all sorts. I mean, playoffs ain't cheap, baby. Ain't cheap. And they're also stressful.
Trying to figure out a way to get into Pearl Jam on Tuesday. Also not cheap.
You're still looking?
Yeah, how much juice am I going to have? I'm worried.
Okay, we're going to talk to Doug Warf, president of the Carolina Hurricanes, here in a little bit about the logistics of everything that's going on at Lenovo Center over the next 5 days.
Huge week.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and it got started last night with the Lincoln Park show, which I wanted to go to, but the Canes were in action, so is what it is. And the Canes, look, man, the Canes paid off in levels of stress and everything else, and here they are with the win. I do feel, and this ties back to the conversation we were having on After Dark last night and having some time to sleep on it. Buckle up, man, because I do think this is how the rest of the series is going to go. It's entirely possible it still goes 7, because it's going to be a very tight series. 2-2, 3-2, 2-1 like last night. I think we're going to get more overtimes in this series because of just the way the Caps and the Canes understand each other in very intimate ways, Joe. And I think it played out last night.
Well, there's a familiarity there. There's also depth, recognizes depth.
Yeah, man.
You know, the questions that the Devils had and all the injuries that they have, they weren't a deep team.
Mm-hmm.
Capitals are extremely deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why they are in the position that they are with the best record in the Eastern Conference. Because it wasn't just Alexander Ovechkin. Remember, Ovechkin was hurt, broke his leg, missed a chunk of this season. They didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
In part because of all the new players and other players that stepped up. You saw that last night with Protas. I mean, I'm just that guy.
That's your guy.
That's the I like to talk about the Winter War. That's the Winter Soldier, man. I mean, that guy's a monster, an absolute monster, though. But no, this is a wrap. The Canes have won game 1. Rod Brendamore's won 8 playoff series.
Yeah,
and in 8 of them, they won game 1 7 times.
So it's over.
It's over. Just
full. You're going full. You're going full Mike Greenberg. Is this series over?
When they win game 1, they win the series.
Facts are facts. All right, you can't argue with science, right?
Except the one time they didn't.
Except
was against
that,
the Capitals.
Yeah, except for that whole thing.
So they could throw the reverse card on us in the Uno here.
But hey, man, who knows? You talk about reverse Uno cards. Remember, the Canes were never going to win multiple overtime playoff games.
That's right. And here they are.
Here they are.
They played their game last night. It was a classic Canes game. Complete effort. You saw it in the first period, just dominant, all the shots. You know, they give up the goal in the second period.
Washington had one shot over the last 20 minutes of the game. Think about that. One shot.
They give up the Protas goal, and you're like, oh, man, it's 1-0. You feel like they're chasing the game, but they were really dominating the game. Puck possession, the shots, all those things. And then right down to the random defenseman scores a goal. That is the Canes formula. And honestly, if you even go back to 2006, if you think about it, you know,
that's fair.
Aaron Ward is scored one of the most important goals in franchise history.
That's fair, man.
Are we, Nick Wallin? How many times did the secret weapon in the playoffs score this, random overtime goal? So that's kind of how the Canes have always done it. And just that it was Jaccob Slavin, we talked to Rod Brindamore the day before about the importance of Jaccob Slavin. It didn't occur to either one of us
that he would score,
that it would be scoring, even after the spectacular goal that he had against New Jersey.
I think, and this came up last night on After Dark with Mike Maniscalco, because I did present it to him, and I know that it's easy to get caught up in the doom scrolling of Canes fandom in the middle of a playoff game. It is stressful stuff, dude. I get it. And the way the games are played and the way the Canes dominated, I've heard the word steal a couple of times in the national conversation around the Canes. The Canes didn't steal it. It's more what Rod Brindamore said in the post game about it was the dividend that paid off in the way that they just continuously pepper you and control the puck. And it did get Mike a little fired up on the After Dark last night. I think there were some 10 years of not making the playoffs post-game radio that emerged last night.
There was some scarring.
Little scarring for Maniscalco last night.
This tonight was as good of a road game as you can play against a team like Washington that you can ask for. And look, Logan Thompson was really good for Washington. Frederick Anderson wasn't taxed. 14 shots. That's the total. I'm sure it'll change because that's what the NHL does. But this is a game for me that if you're the Canes, if you can do this 3 more times, you're going to be in really good shape. Yeah, I know what I'm saying by saying 3 more times, but you're going to be in really good shape. And look, the penalty kill continues to be great. I thought that the power play had a couple of good looks. It wasn't great, but overall,
I know we're focused on the last. We're focused on that one at the end of regulation. I think that would be the one that we're both kind of like.
Yeah, no, I get it, and we're gonna. I mean, if the Canes don't win, we will absolutely put that one under the microscope for the rest of the series. But you know what? The Canes won, so let's move on. I'm going to choose to say they had momentum off of that power play, and it carried into overtime.
We're going to bring up April 2nd as a playoff-like atmosphere game too. That kind of bled over into this one because that was definitely brought up in the national broadcast a lot.
I mean, no, I'm not. I actually said this earlier because I think I've done every Washington D.C. radio station that's out there. Is NPR still a thing? I'll put that one out there for you, Giglio. But as far as I'm concerned, it was one of these things we're coming into this game. I just said, look, this is what the Canes need to do to win, and this is how the series is going to be matched up, and it's styles make fights. Well, the Canes, the one thing I used to love about boxing when I watched it is the team that dictated how the fight went normally won if it went to a decision. And that's what happened tonight. The Canes dictated how this game was going to be played.
It's funny. One of our YouTube comments from B. Grace. Let's be honest here. It felt like a classic Canes experience was in the works, but you keep up that zone pressure and you get rewarded, baby. I saw a lot of folks on Blue Sky.
Can I jump in?
A lot of folks at Blue Sky were using that experience Canes hockey image, and I get it. Fan frustration.
No. Yeah. Let me jump in. Can we just stop this? Can we stop living in the past?
Let's
go,
baby.
I mean, it's everywhere. I'm not saying that there are certain guys who just pop up and show up on podcasts who, there's other stuff that they can do in talking about things. I mean, I get it. We all got to get, paid or shirts or whatever it is that we do. But like everybody talks about, remember back in 2002 Jesus, 23 years later, folks. When does it end? It's like, are these the same people who go into a store with an expired coupon and say, well, can you still use it? and the thing for me tonight is this, if you haven't learned that this team is resilient by now, there is no lesson I can teach you about it. None.
Yes, no, I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
There was some big 2010s.
You know what that was? That was
pent up frustration.
That was hashtag pray for Maniscalco coming up. That's what that was. That was that.
I mean, the first comment, Joe. The first comment that comes up, Joe's, is, I thought we were going to be living in the past, but here we are in the future.
Oh, Mike. You know what Mike needs? Mike needs a Happy and Hale break. He needs a smoothie.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
Looking for something to do. The weather's been gorgeous. Looking for something to do downtown. Economical, because you got to save up for all those playoff tickets and the parking and everything else. Pearl Jam shows on the secondary market. $10. Happy and Hale pop-up in downtown Raleigh.
Yeah, and the pop-up has been extended through May.
Awesome.
So down Smoky Hollow, downtown, right by the Publix. Check them out in the shipping container. They got pickleball there. They got a dog park there as well. Great stuff. $10 bowls, man. You cannot beat it.
Use the app. Use the promo code OG25 to save 25% off your order. Let's go to the OG Sports phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
As always, the Sports Phone brought to you by Nature's Relief. Check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. RELEAF hempstore.com. All right, this is one from a 919.
I just have a quick plea for Canes fans everywhere. Please stop poking PK Subban. I'm not afraid of him or anything, but this is a man who has figured out that the shortcut to engagement is to piss off Canes Twitter and Canes fans. I don't want to just be bracing for negative coverage every time because he knows he'll get a bunch of comments and a bunch of engagement every time he says something stupid about the Canes. We won the New Jersey series. Let's take the W and move on and not take the PK bait again. Bye.
So you had sent me this. This is on Instagram and ESPN.
This is his Instagram.
ESPN and PK are clearly in on this. They got a camera on him in overtime right before the Jaccob Slavin game winner. Here it is.
Goes back to the point to Slavin, and they score!
Oh, Slavin! Come on! Who's picking Slavin? Who is picking
They deserve it. Hey, Carolina deserved this game 100%. I don't know what Washington.
That's justice. You ready to come? I don't know. Yeah.
They deserve that.
This is Sean. They got exactly what they.
Got to be consistent though. It's like he
pounded the table.
He pounds the table like, damn it, they won.
This is the second time he's done it too, because remember it happened in the multiple overtime.
I was gonna say, at least with New Jersey, there was an understanding,
That's
right?
fair.
Like he played for New Jersey, but
That's fair.
like, this is just flat out like.
But this is a thing.
I don't like the way that you play hockey. I don't like your style of hockey.
I respect that, by the way. At least he has a reason why he does not like the Canes. He has a reason.
Sure.
And if you have to understand where ESPN is coming from in this day and age and how they're making their bread and butter. So we got a call. This is another call from the sports phone.
Hey guys, Matt Fuqua, go Canes. Question. I'm a somewhat of a casual Canes fan. I pay attention to the Canes all season. Don't really pay attention to anything other than maybe their conference or division for most of the season. Sorry about that. What is the deal with the national narrative or the national commentators just consistently, I wouldn't say shitting on, just shading on them, kind of. It's as if nothing that the Canes do or however good they are is ever really acknowledged, but if they do something negative, they automatically grasp onto that immediately. It's as if anything positive that is obviously visible to the rest of us isn't commented on or viewed in that way, but anytime there's anything negative to grasp onto, it's automatically that becomes the narrative that they grasp onto, I guess. And my question is, I guess from the casual fan perspective, why is that exactly? Is it just that they're a small market? Do some of these national commentators like PK Subban, do they have shticks or gripes going back to their playing days against the Canes or against Bridnamore? I mean, I know that kind of stuff exists. Do any of these guys have issues with the ownership? Like, why are they not liked? I'm guessing that there's some other teams that feel like they're being treated similarly, but like going into good games like this, it feels like the big brands or the big markets are who the national folks are actually pulling for. So. I'm probably late on this, but it's very obvious when you watch the commentating that it's the Canes are not who they're pulling for. Anyways, go Canes. Peace.
So PK Subban is really easy to explain. You just have to understand where ESPN is now as a company. It's all, as Dimitri likes to say, and we talk about this on OG Business, part of OGTriangleMedia.com. It's all wrestling now. It's all wrestling. You got your characters, they got the people who they pull for, or who where they stand, what they're about. And with PK, it's really easy. He doesn't like the way the Canes play. Straight up, hard stop. And you have to be a character on ESPN to kind of generate the heat, especially when it comes to hockey. PK is the one who's making the appearances on First Take, by the way, not anybody else. So PK is easy to understand. What I don't understand, we talked about this a little bit with Luke last night. We'll play you that clip. Is related to like the McDonoughs of the world, where it's like you can hear it in the broadcast. Kelly and I were talking about this morning because usually I dismiss it. I'm like, it's not. Come on. It's fandom. You're looking for the things to complain about. But in focusing in on the broadcast last night, I was kind of like, dude, Sean, we get it. Like, we get it, bro. let's talk about something else. And I think that broke me last night a little bit. I was like, I see what people are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, well, Canes fans are sensitive because,
of course,
in part, we've had so many spectacular people call their games, right? Chuck, John, and now Mike.
Yeah.
They do such a great job.
And Tripp's been a through line in all of that.
Tripp is a thread, but I also think say what you want about all three of those guys. They're not homers.
Mm-hmm.
Even Tripp with his huge Caniac shtick is not a homer. It's a shtick. He calls the game the way he sees it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think as this caller correctly points out, and I've said this a million times, most people in this market are Canes fans, follow the Canes, and when they're in the playoffs, they get to know the other team a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, if you see him again, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Holla. It's not a bad thing.
That's me.
I'm not sitting here. I don't even know who Jacob Chikrin is. Okay. Let alone why does he have more goals than Andrei Svechnikov?
Shout out to I think it was either Burns or Brant, one of our YouTube listeners. Like, how does Giglio not know Chikrin?
Right.
Like, yeah, man.
He had a good year with Anaheim before he got I had to look it up. I'm just telling you, the most people who follow the Canes are intensely following the Canes and are into the Canes. The division race, the playoff race, the teams they play in the playoffs, but the rest of it, that requires more bandwidth than what we have. Okay. So I think there's an analytical pushback when it comes to the Hurricanes. I've heard, shout out to my guy, Brad from Ottawa.
Yeah.
Calls them the Corsi Cup champions.
Oh, yeah.
There's a way that people look at it and go, oh, well, they play this certain way. They take a lot of shots,
but it's not good enough to win a Stanley Cup.
And it's again the third. Let's make the whole team out of third and fourth liners, which they've essentially done.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had a 100-point scorer since 2006, which is kind of impossible to do.
Well, that's a point. I mean? That's a point you brought up when talking with Luke. We'll play that clip, and this is all part of the After Dark, which you can watch on YouTube exclusively. I know we've had some people say, hey, man, can you turn that in the audio thing? Like, no. That's in the moment. Watch it on YouTube. Not to say that we won't bring some of that stuff back for the main podcast, which is what this is right here. And that I start with Luke about the idea that this shouldn't surprise people that the Canes, analytically, Vegas-wise, are viewed as favorites. Why doesn't it follow suit? And the After Dark is brought to you by our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Check them out online at bloominblinds.com. Bloomin', just the N, no G. Blinds.com, or you can just call Chris directly at 919-980-9815. Everything from repair of those window treatments, because you might have a pet that runs into the blinds and ruins them. Joe, I know you've dealt with that. Or you're just looking for some really up-to-date, crazy things you can do with automation, true blackout curtains. They've got it all at Bloomin' Blinds. They're local. They can take care of you. So check them out. 919-980-9815. Here's that conversation from last night. This was a thing that I was somewhat surprised by going into the series, that the Canes were odds-on favorites in this series. And
favored tonight.
And favored tonight on the road.
That surprised me.
I guess the series has officially started because they won tonight. And if we have all of these metrics, if Vegas likes the Canes, not just tonight, but for the series and all these other things, and statistically, everything is going to be spit out, whether it's a pie chart from, I don't know, Hockey Viz or whatever, and Natural Stat Trick will show you all these visualizations as the Canes dominating. What is the mental block for people to just say, yeah, man, the Canes are favorites, and they went out there and they executed the way that they wanted to. They dominated play, and they got out of there with a win in overtime, which is very difficult to do in the postseason.
They played their game and beat Washington at it. I think it's a couple things. I think one is, and another thing we were texting about during the game is how many times McDonough mentioned never made it out of the conference finals under Rod Brent. Look, Ovechkin was 0 for 6 in the second round until they won the cup. He didn't even make it to the conference finals his entire career until 2018. So I think we underestimate. We've talked about this before. We underestimate how hard it is to win a series 7 years in a row, the way the Hurricanes have. But there is this stigma because of the 0 for 4 against Boston, because of the 0 for 4 against the Panthers, the not a sweep. I think people just still don't believe in them as a contender. They just haven't gotten over that mental hump of this is a serious team that we have to take seriously. Maybe it just takes that to do it. Other franchises get that by, just sort of by acclamation, like, oh yes, the Leafs, very much a contender, very much a contender, because they, certainly have a history of playoff success.
They're the Cowboys.
Yeah. The Giants, whatever,
That's insulting to the Leafs to call them the Cowboys. But the point is, because at least the Leafs make the playoffs, that kind of a thing.
But, there's certain,
you got to talk about them.
And some of it is star power, right? We've talked about this before. There's no McDavid, there's no McKinnon, There's no Marner or Tavares, although he's
who was in
stars have
tonight. Yeah.
But how much does that really matter? Is
at ESPN? That's all that matters.
No. I mean, at ESPN, sure, but I'm saying in the hockey world at large.
Yeah, but you know this, Luke. TV people need the easiest possible talking points. They're not watching 82 Canes games. I don't blame them. They're not watching the Blues 82 games either. You know what I mean? But they know the stars. They know their talking points. Usually the stars are better talkers too. God bless Jaccob Slavin. I don't think I've ever heard him say shit with his mouth full of it. Like, I just, I know he's super religious and he's super nice and he's like super caring and all these things.
Seth Jarvis is sitting right there, by the way.
And
Seth Jarvis is your crossover.
You heard McDonough say Seth Jarvis becoming one of the top forwards in this league.
Yeah.
And part of that, of course, is Four Nations and playing in some more things and being on a bigger stage. I heard him say it. He's had 2 goal seasons in he's not even
24 yet. Yeah.
And that's part of it is like the Canes have not had a 100-point scorer since 06. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it. They haven't had one.
Yeah.
Like stumble into one. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I think from that angle, the ESPN angle, I can see their frustration because there's also old school, Moneyball, the grumpy guy at the table wanting to play David Justice, right? Like we're not playing Chris Hatteberg or Scott Hatteberg. We're going to play, because I've been scouting for 50 years and I know what the cup winner looks like. It doesn't look like this.
This is you're basically the Art Howe, Philip Seymour Hoffman argument that I'm not going to play Lewin Stankoven. He's too short. We're going to play some 6'4" guy who can't skate and grew up in Tillitsburg, Ontario.
Housekeeping.
Of course, that's brought to you by Enovana. You can check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
So we'll do another After Dark following tomorrow night's game in Washington and then back in action on Saturday. Is former Governor Roy Cooper avoiding me? Is he going to fill in for me on Saturday while I'm at a wedding?
Starting to feel like that. I asked him about Thursday.
He said no.
He said he'd have to pull a Governor Cooper, which was he was watching the game on a tape delay.
I see.
He had an event Thursday night, but said he was going to miss the first period. But you know him. He doesn't just jump in the second.
Don't spoil it.
He goes back and
he is crazy. All right. I'm not quite there yet on the taking it personal.
Okay.
So Eric Cole did that for a long time.
He did, yeah.
He was avoiding me,
I think,
for some reason.
Yeah.
We've hashed that out.
Good.
We've hashed that out. So we'll be back in action. Big thanks to our friends at Breaking Tea. Go to breakingtea.com/OG and you will find our OG collection. Look at these wonderful throwback inspired shirts. We've got the Ice Caps inspired. We got the old GGO. We got the Dead Conference. We got the OG flag, positive vibes only. The Skyhawks, real OGs remember that one. And of course, the Joe Giglio special, the one he loves the most, the one he wears to sleep at night, the Carolina Cougars inspired OG podcast shirt. Go to breakingtea.com/OG. Better yet, use the link that's in our podcast YouTube description. That is the referral link. Go to the Canes section. They got a bunch of great Canes merch right now to get you outfitted for the playoffs. And then go buy that Cougar shirt just to make Joe happy. Just to make him happy. So that's all at breakingtea.com/OG. As we mentioned, it's going to be super busy at Lenovo over the next few days. You need to be supplied. Go to BreezeThrough. BreezeThrough.com is the website. Download the app. You can save money on gas. Better yet, just go to the BreezeThrough right there across from the rink. Load up with the beer cave. Load up with the snacks. Stay hydrated because you're going to be busy with all the things taking place at Lenovo Center. Again, big thanks to BreezeThrough. Also, big thanks to Two Roosters. Big night for Slavin.
Huge.
As some of our listeners pointed out, all that happened last night was serving up a Slavin Sunday to the Washington Capitals. Taste that, my boys. It's also the best deal in the arena. That is a serious Sunday. So when they're back in action on Saturday, by all means, go get yourself a Slavin Sunday from Two Roosters. They've got the Kids Chef collection this month.
I was going to say, when do you want to break news on the OG?
You want to do it right now?
We can.
We're going to have a podcast flavor.
It was like the proudest moment potentially of the last 3 years. Never mind any of this other stuff.
I need to put this out probably tomorrow. We have to ask the question, if this podcast were an ice cream flavor concoction from Two Roosters, what would it be? And no, don't go Wayne's World. It would be pralines. And no, we're not doing that. what would it be? What would this podcast be?
It's interesting that you're asking people, because I'll be honest with you, this feels like under the Giglio rules of I get to name things. Like, if you think I'm ceding control on this is,
I know
you're wild.
You've been waiting for this moment.
You're wild.
This is you as the kid in the old Cam Newton play football commercial where you're like, let's go, winding up, put me in. I'm ready to do this. So go to tworoosters.com and go check them out. Go get some pints for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
What says
or cake? The cake is actually better for Mother's Day.
Cake is good stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mother's Day, head over to the Butcher's Market and get the Mother's Day meal ready to go. You could do it yourself. They get everything you need to put together a great meal. Or take my advice, get all the prepared stuff, throw out all of the containers, and act like you did it. Work smarter, not harder.
Makes sense.
Go to Butcher's Market. They got all sorts of great stuff. And who knows, maybe you're tailgating with all the stuff that's happening at Lenovo this weekend. They got all your tailgate needs there as well. There's stuff on the grill. So go to thebutchersmarkets.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group microphone, President, Carolina Hurricanes, Doug Warf in the building. What's going on, man?
Great to see you. I got the great lead-in intro music. That's exciting.
You did. That's the callback. The callback for that one.
That still haunts me a little bit.
Why does it haunt you? Bring it back.
Yeah, no.
It's iconic.
Marley is not coming back.
They got sold anyway, right?
So I don't have to explain anything to my daughter now. Sounds good.
Guys, I'm just impressed you have time to be here. Don't you have like a bunch of events you got to help run over the next couple of days?
I'm in the midst of living at Lenovo Center, but excited to break down to downtown. So thanks for having me on.
So let's actually go through the logistics of this, because I think it's kind of interesting, and I think it might help explain to Canes fans who were growing frustrated. I'm sure you were frustrated as well with the just when are we going to get a schedule? When are we going to get a schedule? When are we going to get a schedule? When we already know there are certain events that are not being moved. You have Shane Gillis on Friday. You got Pearl Jam 2 nights. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, you only got Saturday and you got Monday. So what are we waiting on here? So for people, it's a classic radio bit. Take us inside the meeting room when you're working with the television partners and the league for how the scheduling stuff plays out and how you guys balance that.
I don't want to take you all the way inside. I don't know if that's, although you guys do cuss on this, so maybe we could. No,
curse or don't, Doug.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry. I know the call-in line. It was a challenging time because, I mean, to your point, we had Thursday, Saturday, Monday. We had 3 dates. So we kind of knew we were playing Saturday. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, are you playing Thursday, Saturday, or Saturday, Monday? But a lot of that played out on probably 8 or 9 different scenarios. And every single one that would have let us play on Thursday did not happen. I will not tell you that I may have been cheering hard for anything that could have had us on Thursday, Saturday, as many of us were. But at the same time, play the hand we're dealt, and we were excited about the opportunity. But it was hard.
What is Eddie Vedder going to do on his off day? Are you in charge?
So,
I mean, now that you're doing Bill Belichick's schedule and everything,
we're tight. I'll text Bill here in a second. You guys may not know, but Pearl Jam is probably my favorite band. So I have offered to their management that if he needed a place to stay, if he didn't want to, the guest room at the Warf House is open. But I don't think he's going to take me up on it, oddly. But
weird.
Yeah, strange. But they'll be in for an off day. And I would love if they come to a game. They're kind of busy right now with their own tour. So I think they'll decide those things when they get here.
Look, I think what Giglio's getting at, and I think what everybody would love to see is somebody on the siren.
The request has been made.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
So what? Okay.
Listen, Eddie's like a diehard Chicago guy.
I get it.
I'd love to think that Eddie's like, yeah, that'd be great, guys. But I
get him a number
McCready,
10. Get him a number 10 Canes jersey.
Ooh.
Put Blaylock on the back.
I was going to say, do you put right out 10? I don't think we can do the number 10. That's a retired one.
That's fine. That's a good point.
You're just giving it to him.
Call Ron, see if he's cool with it. So you say you put the request in. How quickly do you get an answer? Typically,
that's what we'll probably hold.
Okay.
Yeah. The siren.
Do you have a backup, by the way, just in case? Like, you got your top request. Do you have a backup? Like somebody that you've told, like, hey, look, just so you know, you're not our first choice. Well, Eddie's our first choice.
We've got 3 siren sounders. So what we try to do is we try to lock in 1 or 2 and don't tell them, hey, where are you slotted?
Gotcha.
And then you try to go swing big if you can, and then slot from there. So, and the nice thing in the playoffs, no one cares where they get slotted. So it's pretty open. But yeah, we've got a couple of folks already slotted for Saturday and for Monday, swinging big for one Saturday and one for Monday.
You know me well enough to know that I have to go there. I'm assuming you did put a request in for Bill Belichick the other night.
We did ask for him to sound the siren the other night. Yeah.
But did you have to go through him or did you go through Jordan? Who'd you CC on that one?
Yeah, we worked with his team. So
okay, we know who his team is.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, you and I went to NC State at the same time, pretty closely tied with NC State.
You were older, but yeah, sure. I just want to get that in
by
there.
a year, dude. Chill out.
Yeah.
I got to imagine when the photo of you, Belichick, and Jordan started making the rounds on social media, that your phone blew up from a lot of State people.
My phone blew up. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
My brother.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. My brother went to UNC. I have a lot of UNC friends. I was disowned by some State friends. So, but at the same time, like he was a great sport about it and was super nice to us. And I think it's the part of me. I'll be honest with you guys.
Look at that smile. If you're watching on YouTube, look at that smile on Doug.
Yeah,
It's
bothers
actually
me.
a really good picture of
It
you
is.
because they actually look like they were getting married.
So true story.
Like he's dressed to the fucking nines. She's wearing a white dress, and you're over there like you just officiated the wedding.
It's true story. And I knew where I stood in this photo, right? And the NHL photographer comes in. We're chatting, the three of us. He's like, "Hey, do you want a photo?" And I looked at Bill and said, "Hey, it's totally up to you, coach." He's like, yeah, we're good. And so I step out.
Yeah.
And he grabs me by the arm, pulls me back. He's like, "You're not getting out of this."
Oh, that's funny.
And that's why, like, if you look at my face, it's almost like,
geez, here I am.
And I knew that photo might get some legs. And then it's not that I don't want to be, I love being in it, but knew that I was not the talking point when it made the Daily Mail in the UK or the Post.
It was for us. It was for, we were happy for you.
That. Yeah.
Restraining.
I didn't even get a mention in the NHL. The NHL posted on their Instagram.
Oh, they didn't say president?
Coach Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson, not like
who's this guy?
Random guy.
Yeah,
who's this jabroni sitting next to him?
Random steak grad.
Random steak grad.
I knew where I stood in the photo.
That's funny. All right, so we talked about the logistics of how the schedule is going to play out. Now we get into the business of actually having 5 events in 5 days, and they're 5 completely different events, or 3 different events spread over 5 days. You got a comedy show, you got hockey games, and you got a very big concert that people are very hyped about, and it's sold out. So I think the curiosity that I have is what happens with all of Pearl Jam's equipment between Sunday and Tuesday?
So let's go through the stats. This is like a historic stretch.
Okay.
So 5-day stretch. It is 5 sold out shows. Different configurations. You can fit more in for Shane Gillis. It's close to 90,000 people across 5 days, which is wild. The Pearl Jam items, they can leave some rigging up.
Okay.
So we're working with the NHL about, hey, what can we leave in the ceiling? But everything else that goes on crates and carts goes back into transfer trucks. They then take it across to where they hold them not too far away from the arena. They sit. Once we finish with hockey, they move right back in. They load everything back in for the Tuesday night show.
What's the concern for the ice over these types of events?
We're not worried about the ice. We do a lot of ice maintenance. The key is, can you maintain the ice before? So we've got a lot of time to maintenance the ice in between.
Okay.
This isn't a show that has like crazy water features or things that can kind of mess up the ice underneath. So we'll have time to do it. Our staff, our staff is they're excited about this. This is like their Stanley Cup final. So they get a little,
pretty sure.
Yeah, trying to be nice here, Joe.
They're gonna be stressed. They're gonna be
nice
stressed
to the boss, but come on.
The thing that could make it even more interesting is if there's extra hockey. That's what could make
the
life,
OT. Well,
yeah.
As we talked about earlier, I have a sneaking suspicion that every game is going to be like this between the Capitals and the Canes. Every game. It's going to be a low scoring affair, flirting with overtime every single time.
I don't think so, but possibly.
Okay. I think we talked about it last night on the After Dark. It was Maniscalco like to say styles make fights, all that kind of fun stuff. The Canes are going to do what they do, and they executed it well last night. Still required overtime to get it done. I know Rod last night talked about that's the payoff. That's why you keep doing what you're doing. But we also know that the Capitals are very judicious with their shots, and they're usually pretty good at burying those. So that's why I do feel it's going to be a low scoring affair. It's going to be flirting with this.
Listen, you guys are the
all the
betting
blocks,
experts.
man. All the block shots. I mean,
But
come on.
we hit what
ridiculous.
4 or 5 posts last night.
Yeah, 4 last night.
I'm not saying that to say that like we're going to sweep it and blow them out every game. I think it'll be tight. I do think there'll be some games where it's 4-3.
Yeah.
Where there's some power play goals their way, where we get some action our way. So we'll see.
So we got the obviously you have the rigs and the stage setups and the ice and all that kind of stuff, but also green rooms and how you like the locker. Are you guys still doing the locker room thing where people get to go in the locker room and have a drink and some food and all that stuff?
We're probably not going to do that for the Pearl Jam shows. That's a little too complicated.
That's what I was curious about. For those who don't know, and I don't know how long y'all have been doing this, but for certain shows, you can go into the club, if you will, which I know which is part of the big overhaul that's happening.
Yes, that'll have an actual space soon.
You rather than trying to light up some weights to make them look fancy and whatnot.
They look pretty cool though.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You go in there and the lighting's pretty cool, and lets people kind of gawk at what's going on in the locker room. But the smell, Doug,
it's not. Do you think it's that bad?
You got your nose blind at this point, dude.
I think it's like a 3. Like I think it's like a 3 out of 10.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm getting nose blind too because I got a Junior Canes bag in the back of my car more often than not.
A 6 out of 10.
Sitting in sun, that's pretty bad. So you can still get the hint of that. Get a hint of it.
So is there a gap in your schedule that once hockey's over, you'll be able to start that 300 level renovations, like on the arena schedule?
So there's we've got a 2-week period where we kind of blocked it out to where we could come in, take out a lot of that seating. So in between whatever our last potential home game is, and Nate Bargatze's kind of the big show that would be after, we'd start doing some really major renovations. So that's when you come, you'll see some noticeable stuff in the 300 level.
I specialize in telling people what to do. Those 300 level seats, please move them down to the lower level. You guys have started doing a great job of that, replacing a lot of those OG seats in the lower level, but they all need to be burned and thrown out of that building and replaced.
Like physically move them down, like move the people down.
No, the seats themselves.
The physical seats themselves.
Yes,
got it.
the smaller, sleeker ones for fat people like me gives you more room.
Okay.
There's certain rows that you already do. Section 129, section 109. I know them all because when I go to a state basketball game, those are the seats that I look forward to buy.
If I'm not mistaken, this is what you talked to me about like the second day I was on the job.
Correct.
Yeah. It is. It is in the notes for when we do some lower bowl maintenance.
So that 300 level, it's going to become like a standing opening.
Yeah. So 317, 18, 19 will be a view bar. So it's going to be this really cool space. We don't have anything like it. Even the bar that's on the club level doesn't take you all the way to the ledge like this will. So really cool way to look over. A lot of new concessions up there. The 300 level is going to be a great spot next season.
What's the messaging for folks? Because I know it's easy to get online and see people complain, and that's what people do online. They complain.
I mean, they do.
I'm included in this. I'm sure you haven't seen any of this stuff online. What is the messaging for the advancements and all the things? It's like, it's one of these weird, like, we want the arena to be upgraded, but wait a minute, not at my expense, that type of thing. So how do you kind of balance that with people who might complain about how things are going or what might happen to their seats, and how are those things being accommodated?
I think the benefit I have is I get to see a lot of the plans and the vision of where it's going to be. Stuff that we don't own, the Centennial Authority does, so we can't always release a lot of that information. But I think when you look at where it will be, that's what gets exciting. It's kind of like a home renovation. When you're remodeling your kitchen, it's not the most exciting time when you don't have a microwave and an oven. But when you get it back in and it's exactly what you want, it's a beautiful place. And I think that's what we're going to live through for a little bit. I think our jobs and our goal is to minimize that as much as possible to the fan.
Okay.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. We don't own.
What's that?
It's rent free. So if you didn't have that guy, your boss, Tom Dundon, you can say structurally that the Centennial Authority runs it or owns or whatever, but this is like Tywin Lannister being the true king. That the power is in the hand. The power is not in the nominal king.
Listen, we are a tenant of the building
that pays no rent.
See, Joe, this is why this is why Doug is able to do what he does, and we're here.
No, but
I'm calling Doug out on his bullshit.
Also, Tom would tell you that it's not that we don't pay rent. One, that kicks back in. You know the structures of these deals, but we do contribute to the Centennial Authority.
Yeah.
So
I I wish if you're this is one of those ones where you have to watch on YouTube so you can see the shit-eating grin on Giglio's face right now. Speaking of grins, I'm guessing you're probably grinning at Biz on Twitter with the Gargoyles announcement with the ECHL, which awesome for Greensboro. Biz going out there like, 1-0 as part of the Canes organization, which okay, we see you, Biz.
Raise up, yeah,
raise up, man. Hey, that's good. That's good for business. That's good for business,
right? Yeah.
But yesterday, we knew that the Gargoyles were going to be a thing, an ECHL affiliate. They're going to be playing at Greensboro Coliseum. It was kind of the worst kept secret that they were going to be a part of the Canes organization. But it's official as of yesterday. What is that? I almost feel like there's a bookend here. The Canes start in Greensboro. Now there's an ECHL affiliate in Greensboro. It helps the game in North Carolina. So how'd this all kind of come together to get an ECHL affiliate?
Well, we needed an ECHL affiliate, so it was a good match.
Yeah.
And, Greensboro is a great market. We have a lot of fans in Triad. And I think the Zoyer group, so the group that truly owns the Gargoyles, the Checkers, the Savannah team, a handful of minor league teams, is the Zoyer group. And they were really impressed and excited by how many Canes fans were at the announcement yesterday. So I think they're starting to see, if they didn't know already, how many folks are there. I think it's going to be a great tie for us. And it's a market we want to be in. I'm a Winston guy, so the Triad means a lot to me.
Yeah.
But to start to connect the Carolinas again it's a big piece.
So I'm curious, you mentioned the Checkers. For those who might not be aware, there was an ownership group that the Canes had a relationship with, but that ownership group is no longer there. This is another group that's in charge of the Checkers?
Well, Michael Kahn still owns a portion of the Checkers.
Okay.
And Tara Black, their COOs, one of my great friends in the industry. So, there's a lot of the folks who are the same with the Checkers. But yeah, Michael Kahn's still associated, but the Zoyer group came in and bought the majority ownership group.
Gotcha. Because people are trying to connect dots. You have your AHL affiliate, but there was an affinity for the Checkers. I think people still kind of tie back to the lockout year and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't know if that was a possible opening of a door. These are questions that people have, Doug.
Yeah, they're happy with the Panthers, which is good for them. I think we're always trying to talk to them. I talked to Tara a good bit about ways that we could still work on partnerships, even though there's kind of a misalignment there.
So that would be the other curious, because we've had a recurring thing with Raleigh and Charlotte and everything else. With the success of the Canes, you're only going to grow fan bases.
Yeah, and that's
Charlotte,
we share that goal, right?
Yeah.
They understand that there are a lot of Canes fans in Charlotte, but we also understand they are growing hockey fans that we need to make Canes fans. So there's a connection there of just being hockey fans.
Can we talk about Pearl Jam more?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not talking. I know you have no inside information,
right?
But let's just say you were on the Giglio budget and you could only go one day. What day do you think we get elderly women behind the counter?
Well, you can look at what they've been doing in some of their other shows.
Okay, so they've had other multiple stops.
So they've already played Atlanta. Kyle Hanlon, Carl Hammer. He's been at all of them. So
Kyle. Of course, Kyle's been for you. For those who don't know, Kyle is he's a Gibbons grad, worked with the Canes for a very long time in communications, was part of the 06 Cup run and whatnot, and he's doing his own thing. And I've known him to be the biggest. I know you say you're a big Pearl Jam guy.
I am not Kyle Hanlon.
Kyle travels to go see Pearl Jam. He's ridiculous. We should probably call him to get him on to talk about this.
He would give you an intense breakdown. Listen,
I just want to scream hello.
Night is typically when they've been going with a lot of their hits.
Okay.
That's first
Tuesday.
night's a little bit more deep tracks. So I think if you're looking for some of the,
I'm going hungry on the first night. You mean like we're going to get that deep?
I don't know if they're going like they've played like
that's Temple of the Dog
and some of the others. Yeah, but like your second night's when they've been hitting a lot of hits,
right.
and they go. It seems like they've been going a little bit longer on the second night. But no rhyme or reason just yet. I'm like you, looking at set list, trying to break down theory. I am luckily going to be there both nights. It's going to be a little awkward because I'm in a suit. So it'll be really weird that there's a dude.
Look, you're wearing the flannel today. You could just wear that.
Yeah.
Maybe this works.
Maybe what you need to do is you need to call back Eddie in the 90s where you've got the suit top, but you've got the shorts, the cargo shorts with the tights underneath.
Yeah.
Like you're out there in a swampy marsh outside of Seattle.
Maybe climb on the top again.
Oh yeah, you could do that
too.
too. Yeah. Something tells me Eddie's a little too old for that these days to recreate the even flow video.
But listen, you guys probably both remember we were slated to have them, so it's great to get them back.
Yeah.
From the time that we weren't able to have him in 2016.
Just HP2. So
yeah, it was.
I mean, I
tough.
had tickets for that show. So
a lot lot of us did.
Yeah.
A lot of us might have had like 18
Mm-hmm.
seats. It was 420 in 2016.
Not that
not that I remember. And Mike Sondheim and I were so frustrated that we drove to Columbia the next night to watch him in Columbia.
Yeah.
But no, it's exciting to have him back. And to your point earlier of Tom and what he does for the arena, I think that's a key part that I don't want to be lost in this. Last year was a record for events.
Mm-hmm.
This year, we're breaking last year's record. Our goal is to break it again next year. A lot of that is because Tom puts time and resources into going after shows.
That's where I wanted to close this conversation.
It's all part of your job.
It's part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I a lot of people know me as the president of the Hurricanes. I'm also president of Lenovo Center.
Right.
There's a large team. It's a fantastic team. You guys know Joey. There's a large arena team, but then there's a team that's just marketing and booking shows. Tom Embry's our GM.
Yeah.
Our team is aggressive on getting after things, and Tom is involved. Tom wants to know what's going out. How can he help? Who can he call? You know, it's a fun time because he knows this matters to the community.
I was going to say, with your first run with the Canes versus now with Dundon being there, what is the biggest change outside of Tom being involved? Because there's always been a growing frustration of why don't we, quote unquote, why don't we get these shows? Why is X artist not coming through here? And I've noticed it. There's a hell of a lot more shows of artists that people were like, hell yeah, I want to go see them. So what's been the biggest change outside of ownership?
Well, two things. One is Tom and the people he's put in place.
Mhm.
So you have to build a team who's constantly making calls. And then two, I think Raleigh, and that this is our talking point. It's a must-play market now.
Yeah.
And when you look at where we are as a TV DMA, but then look at the colleges that are here and what it pulls in,
Mhm.
I think there used to be a time where you would look at other markets in the Carolinas and say, okay, well, I'm going to play one. I think now Raleigh's a must-play market for a lot of people that are going out. And we try to position ourselves to where we can go after them. There's a piece of this too, and it's not a knock. Love the old regime. But hey, we would block off weeks and weeks and weeks, and you didn't need to. The NHL doesn't make you do this. There's no mandates. MSG's busy every night, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a piece of this where I'm excited that we've gone out. We have to leave gaps. You have to talk to promoters. You have to talk to the league to make sure you can position these things correctly. But we booked Shane Gillis on Friday. We booked Pearl Jam with a gap between the two dates in case we needed to play a game. You go out and you get aggressive and you do those things to make sure we have these shows.
Not to get too far ahead, but I think it is phase 2, the concert venue that will be out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how does it's more of a supplement, right? It's not maybe
know,
acts that can't fill the arena. You'd
Correct.
be able to.
I think it's 4,800 seats. I can't remember the exact seat count,
Sure,
but it's under
still
5,000.
It's just a design right now anyway.
But, that's the nice part right now is there are a lot of bands that can't play 10, 12, 14,000 seats. And our goal is to be able to set that up and for them to be able to play, some possibly same night stuff. So bringing more stuff in.
It feels aggressive.
If you go a little bit deeper in the plans, it's a possibility for sure.
Because there'll be the parking decks.
There'll be decks. There'll be more ingress options. Listen, these are all theories, right? These are all things that are in plans. But Brian Fork and a lot of folks are working very hard to make sure that comes to life.
Yeah, we got to talk to Brian here soon because you got nothing to do with baseball, right?
I'm not going to answer any questions on baseball.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
It's everybody's favorite topic, baseball. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of news out there right now. Just saying. But that's not your department.
I've been too busy to see that news.
See, there you go.
What news is out
You're
there?
too busy trying to get your suit tie combos for the next 5 days, right?
Well, you got to go red and black on Canes games.
Of course.
Yeah, and then I don't know what to do on some of the off nights. So yeah.
There's got to be
blue suits then.
Does Tom make you wear a suit?
No.
I was going to say.
Doug's a professional.
Never seen him.
Doug's a professional.
Doug is.
Yeah.
I would be interested if I wore like a hoodie. I don't even know if Tom would care. Like I think he'd be like, oh, this is fine.
Okay.
Well, you know what?
It's the wrong brand, but I got you, Roback.
Yeah.
I mean, you can dress it up.
Look,
It
all I'm
does look
saying
good,
is
feel
for
good.
one of the nights of Pearl Jam, just dust off an old college flannel to wear under the jacket.
I'm working on a look.
Okay, you gotta work on some level of old school look. Here.
Man, I think my own team is worried about me for those two shows. I think there's some concern as to what level access. I might get demoted access for the two shows. That
Did you buy all
probably your call?
Have you purchased all the CDs from back at all the live shows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty deep in on the Pearl Jam.
man.
world,
See,
so.
I recently read Steve Hyden's book about Pearl Jam.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read it or not. It's very good. It kind of illustrates like how they became a jam band.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that I've been most blown away by. I would never associate Pearl Jam as a jam band-esque band that people will have seen 50 times.
Right.
And they'll go on the websites to go download the bootlegs or the official recordings and everything else. Like I associate that with Fish. I associate that with obviously Grateful Dead. I never in a million years thought that Grateful Dead or that Pearl Jam would be that band. And here they are.
I think their catalog is deep. I would applaud them for kind of changing with the times to an extent. Didn't always love it when they were doing it when we were in our early 20s.
Oh, no. I mean, look, if you want to get into some hot takes, I thought No Code was trash when it came out.
Right. And now you listen back to some of those albums that maybe you listen to differently now. Right?
Binaural was recorded in a way that I still do not like.
Yeah. And I'm always curious, do they still want to play Black? Right? Like, is that one where they're like, oh man, I don't want to play Jeremy again tonight.
Yeah.
Because like we've got a really deep repertoire and these aren't the jam. But who knows? They still rock it out, which is what's fun.
No, but seriously, guys, the Avocado album. Let's go. that was the one. That was the one that brought me back. I also liked Yield too, and I know a lot of people didn't like Yield, but
Yield was great.
I thought that was a great album. Anyway, thanks for coming through, man. I know you got meetings to go to, so we appreciate the time. When's your next one? It's like in 20 minutes?
It is, and I have to be back and leading a meeting in 24 minutes. So.
See?
The good news is you can zip right there.
It's quick. Yeah.
Awesome.
Eford Studios, downtown, right
there
to
we
the
go.
arena. It's
All right,
easy.
man. Good luck this weekend. We'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.
Big thanks to Hometown Realty for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out, myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. You might be thinking about selling your home. It's time to upgrade. Maybe your situation has changed. Cool, get that. Any number of reasons why you'd sell. But here's one thing you shouldn't do. Take one of those guaranteed cash offers. Call the experts at Hometown Realty. Maximize the value of your home. Better yet, if you're looking to buy, whether it's new construction or old construction, immaterial. People on staff understand this market better than anybody. But when it comes to new construction, and we see it going up all the time, they're going to know about builder incentives. So contact Hometown Realty. Go to myhtr.com. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Let's say you bought a house, you're selling a house, you got to take that thing to close. WH.lawyer. They can help you out with things like that. You're a small to medium-sized business. You got some legal needs. They can handle that as well. They got attorneys all across the state. So check them out. WH.lawyer. Speaking of your house, you want to make sure you can enjoy the outside. It's gorgeous right now, but don't be fooled. Mosquitoes are right around the corner as it warms up. I actually just had Mosquito Authority show up at my house today. I got the text. They serviced it. They're always asking questions. What can we do? What are areas of concern? That's customer service, and they're going to help you out with that. Go to bugsbite.com to get those mosquito treatments. Pay as you go. There's no contracts with bugsbite.com. Same with Pest Authority. So take care of the inside of your home and the outside of your home with our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. And finally, you got to insure that house, right? You also got to save money to buy more tickets.
Yeah, you do.
Start the conversation with Matt Davis. He's a Canes fan. He's there. He knows. He understands.
He can help.
He understands the desire to go to as many games as possible and the cost involved. So he's going to help you save money to make that happen. So start that conversation today. Go to insuregarner.com or call him directly at 919-779-8277. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, David Hale, ESPN, ACC Network. Wait a minute. Why are you not in a Buc-ee's? I thought you permanently moved to Buc-ee's.
No, I explained this actually to Andrea yesterday. I am in a Buc-ee's. You know that scene in Wayne's World where they rebuild Wayne's basement in the 2V studio? Yes. I just my entire office shipped down to Daytona Beach. This is all. If you panned out, the Buc-ee's is all over. There's beef jerky all over the place over here.
It's funny. You're wearing a Cubs shirt. We just got done talking to Doug Warf about Pearl Jam and wondering if Eddie Vedder is going to sound the siren for a playoff game. And then you wearing that Cubs reminds me. Yeah, as Doug said, he's such a Chicago guy. There's no way he's repping for the Canes. No way. No.
I just saw Pearl Jam in Florida like 2 weeks ago, and they were tremendous.
Did you get the hits or the deep cuts?
A little of both. It was a good mix. Couple of Tom Petty covers. He played one on Tom Petty. He played "Won't Back Down" solo on Tom Petty's guitar that he had. But yeah, they opened with "Oceans," which was baller, and they played a bunch of deep cuts. But then a bunch of like "Porch" is my all-time favorite Pearl Jam song, and that was like the last before their like 45-minute encore. But yeah, I mean, it was you could tell Eddie's getting up there a little bit in years, but it's still it's still a great show.
Well, Eddie's never spent 24 hours in a Buc-ee's. All right, so
no, that'll age you.
Real quick, man. Why? What was the bet? I was like, all of a sudden, I log into social media and I see you like I'm getting ready to hang out in a Buc-ee's for 24 hours. I'm like, what did David do?
Yeah. Well, I assume most people, when they see me doing something stupid, just fill in the blanks there. Well, he's an idiot. So Andrea Adelson, my colleague over at the old ESPNs, have an annual wager on our ACC picks. Because we way back in the day when there used to be the ACC blog, our picks would just be public. They'd go out there on the blog.
Sure.
And then when that went away, we were like, well, let's keep doing them and we'll have a wager, but it was usually low stakes wager. There is no prize for the winner, by the way. The winner doesn't matter. It is about punishing the loser.
Fair.
And so this year we encouraged the fine folks on the social medias to suggest a punishment for the loser. We narrowed their picks down to 4, one of which was this 24 hours in Buc-ee's. We put it up for a vote, and that was the overwhelming consensus, which at the time I thought to myself, well, that'll be funny. And I didn't really consider the fact that there is nothing that is fully funny for 24 consecutive hours. It's funny for like 10 minutes. And then you have another 23 hours and 50 minutes to fill with things that are increasingly less funny.
Yeah, I was curious at what point, and you just answered it there, at what point that I went, this was cool. I get to eat all the Buc-ee's food for 24 hours, breakfast, lunch, dinner, repeat, right? And then it went, oh God, I have to eat another brisket sandwich.
Yeah. The food was actually one of the highlights of this. It was really, so we had,
the bathrooms
we did our
clean. Like, right. You're not dealing with
bathrooms are very clean.
That
is not just a marketing gimmick. Those are clean bathrooms.
Right.
We did our show from there, which killed a bunch of time. And then we had ACC Network, for reasons I'll never be able to explain, sent like a camera crew to do like a documentary type feature on this that will run on our show next week. And when I say like a documentary type, it'll be like 4 minutes, but like, within that 24 hours, there's a solid 4 minutes of content. So like there was people there kind of entertaining me and telling me to go do stupid things for other people's entertainment because I'm just a clown to them. And
do I amuse you?
Yeah, exactly. So funny how. Yeah. So that killed a lot of time. But then, like, the cameras all go. Everybody goes home and goes to sleep at like 10 o'clock at night, and then you're in a Buc-ee's overnight, and that's a different vibe altogether.
Well, how did you?
And that was tougher.
Did you sleep?
Did you grab a?
I did not. No.
Did you grab a bunch of Buc-ee's Snuggies and pile them up to make a bed? Like how that work?
I wore a Buc-ee's Snuggie, yes, and I did. I did not sleep though. I kind of sat like one of those things for a little while, kept my head back, but invariably like somebody would come through with a floor waxer 5 seconds later and wake me up. So yeah, I didn't sleep. I drank a lot of coffee and some Red Bull.
How is the coffee?
The coffee was fine. The coffee was fine. I mean, it wasn't like going to it's typical. Insert name of your sponsor here. It was fine. It was fine coffee. There's a coffee guy there, like an older gentleman whose job was to like refill and clean the coffee machines and all of that. And he's like, well, here's what you do. You fill about 2/3 of your cup up with the hot dark roast, and then about 1/3 with the cold brew, and it perfectly evens out your temperature so that you can just kind of chug it. And he's like, the flavor profile is great. And that dude was spot on. It was terrific.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've heard of the bullet coffee and all that stuff. But never that. Anyway,
gonna do my best Ovies.
The Buc-ee's people were great.
I have a transition in my head.
I have a great one here.
I have a transition
do my best
in my head.
Ovies here.
All right.
So they were mixing and matching, trying to find the right combination. kind of like the ACC with Notre Dame and their football schedule.
Oh, you nailed it, Joe. I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
So proud of you.
Clemson
Notre Dame is the
Dark roast.
1/3 iced coffee that you're trying to make the rest of the 2/3 ACC more palatable so that you can consume it quickly. Yeah.
Perfect. I know there were some people, some hand wringing from folks here who follow us on the socials because it's our teams that are basically not going to get to play them as much, which is fine to me. I mean, you're still going to get to see them. I actually kind of like this from the ACC, right? Like this feels like a smart move.
Well, we'll see. First of all, we'll see what the moves actually end up being. The Clemson-Notre Dame agreement was entirely done by Clemson and Notre Dame outside of the ACC, which is, I mean, this is a absolute home run for Graham Neff and Clemson for myriad reasons. One, it obviously helps their playoff resume as they might be looking for a wild card into the playoff. Two, we now live in an era where the ACC is going to give more money to teams with the highest ratings. Well, you know how you get good ratings? Play Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Three, they have Georgia and Oklahoma on their schedule 6 times over the next 12 years. But the SEC is talking about maybe we go to 9 conference games, maybe we go to 10. Putting those games in real jeopardy, this is a good backfill for that. And then the last thing is we saw with this settlement that, you know, who knows how long Clemson's in the league. So this goes with Clemson if they depart. So all of those games that the ACC, which I think they had 5 scheduled between Clemson and Notre Dame, maybe 4 over the next 12 years, would have disappeared if Clemson left. Now Clemson's going to play Notre Dame no matter where they are. So this is great for Clemson. But the ACC is also still talking about doing this with their other bigger brands. They want Florida State and Miami, for example, to play Notre Dame more often. This will be, I think, one of the bigger topics in Amelia Island next week for the spring meetings. Sadly, we won't have, I don't think, anyone like threatening to quit the league or form their own league or whatever. It'll be a relatively more boring administrative spring meetings. But I do think there will be some hand-wringing and some hey, listen, you know, it's great that you want to create more good TV content, but why does that mean Wake Forest just plays like Prairie View A&M 12 times now? Like, there's going to be some pushback on that.
See, this is something.
Well, Wake Forest can't talk. They're beg their way out of a game.
that's fair.
There is
That's
that.
fair.
There is that.
I guess. I mean, to me, I think the ACC has to be creative. Going back to when they hired Jim, the guy from Northwestern. How'd you build your little Keebler tree? How did you become competitive with these giant schools in the Big Ten? I mean, this is kind of part of that progress. You know what people are going to argue about, David? You just be happy that Debbie Yao's not involved, because if Debbie was still at NC State, that basketball schedule, I promise you, there would be a jihad. She would have a construction vehicle parked in the middle of that hotel, and no one would be getting the pink Himalayan salt over NC State and North Carolina, playing only once a year in college basketball. And that's kind of my attitude over this Notre Dame thing. Like, oh, if NC State can't have nice things, well, fuck everybody else. You can't have nice things either. South Carolina and Clemson, I don't care if you ever play again.
So here's where I would disagree in that you can't have nice things. This is something that I've been talking about probably for the last 10 to 15 years. If we understand that television rules everything, you have to create better matchups. And before we got to this point with success initiatives, because David, to your point, and Joe, to your point, these are going to naturally bake in better ratings for these teams. And as we know, with the structural changes to the payouts, you as a ratings grabber will get more money. If they had set this up a decade ago, understanding in order to better our television agreement, we have to put our best brands on television more often, and everybody benefits from this, we might not have that kind of attitude. But we understand that everybody goes to their silos. That would be, it was almost like this is something that should have happened 10 years ago, and it might have bettered the league, or at least given you a chance to better the league, rather than how it's being positioned now as an individual success. As you said, big for Clemson to do this with Notre Dame.
Yeah, and look, here's the thing, and I will say, I think it's smart that you're trying to think outside the box in terms of being creative with ideas. And Dan Radakovich, I'm not sure if he actually believes this so much as just like, let's workshop the idea. We'll have a brands division and a non-brands division.
I did see that when you
we certainly heard Jim Phillips talk about, well, is there different things we can do with our championship game? But, you know, you talk about ratings, it's not just ratings, it is placement. And if you go back and look last year, once the ESPN had the full ACC or the full SEC schedule, the ACC got almost no prime TV spots on ABC or ESPN in the noon, 3:30 or 8 o'clock games. So I think this helps with all of that. You know, too much to your point, Joe, that I think there has been, I've said this before, a long time of the ACC just being like, why don't we get the same things as the SEC, without looking at the reasons that happens, that it is not just somebody likes the SEC more and bestowed this upon them. And so you've got to think more creatively, and to their credit, maybe better late than never, but they are thinking more creatively about these things than they used to.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see of these meetings in Amelia Island. I get it. It's not going to be the Magnificent Seven, and it's going to launch a bazillion YouTube videos about how the ACC is falling apart. But
we got 6 years.
I know. Less, actually, but that's neither here nor there.
They'll go through 30.
But the decisions will be made before that, is my point.
Regardless.
Regardless. The point that I'm making here is that it gets to our level of creativity. What kind of conversations are going to take place in Amelia Island? How creative can they get? And Joe and I are already referencing the basketball aspect of this. If they're going to go forward with only having one partner and a reduction in conference schedule for basketball, and I get that basketball is not the thing that people think about, but here in the Triangle, we think about this stuff. And we're going, wait, whoa. You're telling me that State and Carolina are not going to play in basketball twice a year? That's ridiculous. Now, the larger ACC does not give a shit about that, but locally we give a shit about that. And you have to think creatively in order to make these things happen. How creative do you think they can get at Amelia Island?
My guess is probably not super creative, because all of these ideas are good in a vacuum until somebody else has an opinion about how it affects them. And you're giving, I think, a perfectly reasonable example of how, if I'm NC State or UNC or Wake Forest or Duke or whatever, I might say, like, I don't like this. I will say, I mean, we saw North Carolina and Wake play a non-conference football game because they wanted to play each other. There's nothing stopping you from using one of these non-conference games and still playing an ACC team. You can do it if you want to.
Carolina don't want to do it.
Right. Well, that's part of the problem here. So, look, I do think, look, I don't know, 18, 20 games. There's two problems inherent here. One is when we have these massive conferences, there's no easy way to do this. Like, the bottom line is it sucks to have a 17 or 18 team conference, because this is what happens. But the other thing is, in lieu of winning actual games, which is what the ACC needs to do in both basketball and football, they're jerry-rigging they're reverse engineering some formula to try and maximize their outcome when their input is problematic. This reminds me, like, in writers' terms, it's like you're trying to really spin a yarn without having done any of the reporting. You've got to have the meat there, and right now the ACC doesn't. So they're chasing every possible way to help their guys like Duke or Clemson, whatever, who have had the meat and are being weighed down by the rest of the league right now.
All right, before we say goodbye, it's my turn to transition. My turn to you call the yarn, it's the right around here. Would you rather
probably swallow that first.
Careful.
Yeah.
Right around. Right around. Would you rather spend another 24 hours in Buc-ee's or talk about Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson the rest of the summer? What would you rather?
I'm not eager to line up for Buc-ee's again, and I don't think they want to see me back, but I'd probably take that one. Yeah.
All right. On a serious note, I know you wrote about this on your Substack. And I thought it was very good. So the question is, Joe and I are coming at this from can you believe it? I mean, we get to talk about this every day.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And I will dabble in the Us Weekly headlines because I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
Well, you guys have no credibility anyway, so it's fine for you. I'm saying for important journalists.
We are the Temu sports show of the Triangle, okay? So we're going to act that way. However, at some point, there is a football conversation to be had here. And I know that your overall premise is, what's the big deal? I don't know if I agree with that. So for you, when does it become a football problem? Or does it become a football conversation with everything?
I'm not saying what's the big deal. I think there could be a big deal. In fact, I think there is a big deal to be talked about. I think we're not talking about it. Okay. I think there are too many people. Like, let's say there is a story with Jordan Hudson there. I don't think anybody's found the story yet. Like the whole idea that she somehow tanked the HBO show, like even if that's true, which I'm not sure that it is, who cares? That was an HBO show. It didn't really matter. Okay. And my other point is, you're pointing all the blame at her for being unqualified for the job that she supposedly has.
I am not.
A 73-year-old, 6-time Super Bowl winning championship coach is the one who wants her doing this.
So okay,
the blame belongs on him.
You and I are in agreement on this. I've said this. Don't blame Jordan. Jordan's the easy thing. You want to get into misogyny? It's there, man. I don't have to explain misogyny in this. I don't have to mansplain misogyny, if you will.
You ladies just don't understand misogyny.
Understand, right? So, folks, we're kidding. We're being sarcastic.
I can't wait for the awful announcing story on this is going to be brutal.
Yes. Please, awful announcing. It's called sarcasm. Okay. No, this is where you and I align. This is all on Bill, the guy who was very much about football being the only thing allowing for. He's the one who's allowed this, not anybody else. And that's where I find it interesting on a football level.
Agreed. But I what we don't know is how much this is actually affecting football. Like I keep hearing these, like, it's such a distraction for the football team. Like, is it? The answer is we don't know, because nobody's heard from a damn football player in 6 months, which is insane. But here's the other thing. If you want to talk about the real football side of this story, in my mind, it is that he approached filling out his coaching staff the same way he approached hiring somebody to oversee his brand, whatever, which is, I know these people already, I'll have them do it. It's 2 of his kids. It's one of Michael Lombardi's kids. It's Bob frickin' Diaco. Like, This is an actual direct football story. And somehow, like, nobody's talking about that because he's dating a 24-year-old woman. Like, to me, you're missing the forest for the trees. She is a symptom of what might be the football problem there, not the cause of the football problem there.
I think the financial portion of it is the actual portion of it, ultimately, when you mention her. And I do think the Daily Mail story about the $7 million in real estate holdings. David, I hope all of your parents and grandparents are alive. But if you had someone 50 years older than you doling out $7 million in real estate in the Northeast, I would freeze out. That's not allegedly. They have LLC documents.
All they have is we don't know.
Not allegedly.
We don't know.
It's real documents. Yeah. I would freeze all of their assets. I would put all of their stuff into trust, like, immediately. So that's the portion of this that I think is real. I mean, yeah, the interrupting in an interview, who cares? She's this PR person. Great. I got no problem with that. It's the financial portion of this. You know, all of these moves the ACC are making is because for financial benefits. And I was actually going to start the interview with you today. How many ADs have you heard from, or coaches have you heard from, now that the Big Ten numbers are out for last year? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of hand wringing already. Oh my God, look at all this money that Indiana has, you know? And to me, it gets back to Indiana for Carolina, because I'm convinced their big donors are the ones who looked at it and said, Indiana just hired a coach from Elon and went to the freaking championship. Like, what? Wait, we can't do this. We haven't won a conference title since 1980.
Yeah,
and they're hiring a guy one step removed from Elon. Like, what are we doing that's wrong? So I do think there is a financial portion of this that is legitimate, and I do think that will ultimately be the undoing there at Carolina as well.
I mean, will anyone, a single human being on Earth, be surprised when this ends horribly? Like, it was evident it was going to probably going to happen. Like, this was a moonshot for Carolina, and I get why they take a moonshot. But the whole point of a moonshot isn't you have a 50-50 chance of it going great or terrible. A moonshot is you have a 1% chance of it going amazing and like a 99% chance that it's going to crash and burn. To me, like, no, he wasn't hiding who his girlfriend was when they hired him. No. There's plenty of people at Carolina who didn't want to hire him for various reasons, one of which may well have been that. Like, it's a buyer beware situation. And if they win an ACC title in the next, well, who knows how long he's going to be there, year or two, then
Yeah. No, look, I can't wait. I can't wait. I think it's a great offseason. I think it's going to be a fascinating football season, and it's all happening.
I have like a number of people who do not care at all about my job or what I do, like, or college football, who are like, tell me more about this girl Bill Belichick is dating. Like, North Carolina football tangentially was referenced on Saturday Night Live. That's never happening in any other realm. Like, there's some crossover appeal to this. Sometimes the reality show is good TV.
Yeah, that's true. Just like you hanging out in a Buc-ee's is good documentary footage. All right, man. We appreciate the time as always. We will talk to you later.
Gentlemen.
Always enjoy our conversations with David Hale over at ESPN. I got him to snap a little bit on the Bill Belichick stuff. We're all there with Bill Belichick. I get it.
Good to hear a different voice on it too, though.
Of course. When we talk about the ACC, it's thanks to our friends at Keller Williams Commercial. The Donnelly team's going to help you out. Hit them up. 919-616-8681 or trianglencommercial.com. You might have a warehouse full of Bill Belichick books you got to stash. They can find a space for you, right? On a serious note, you're looking for more space. You're looking for a retail option, any number of commercial real estate needs. We get it. It's a highly specific area of need. But the Donnelly team, they're great at it. So contact them today, trianglencommercial.com or 919-616-8681. Big thanks to our friends at Longleaf Swine. Maybe you are not headed to the game, but I know the folks over at Longleaf got the TVs and they got the game on. Maybe you want to hang out for dinner on a Thursday night. Go to Longleaf. They got the TVs. They got great food. They got specials all the time. And Buffalo Trace is the house bourbon. So when you got the cocktails,
nice.
The Sandbagger, with the Miller High Life Pony with a shot of Buffalo Trace, can't go wrong with that.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, how have I never had that?
You've not had that yet?
No.
Oh yeah. When they went over to Buffalo Trace full on, that's the shot that comes with the High Life.
Whoa. It's a full day for me.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So check out longleafswine.com. Big thanks to Gordon. He came through the studio yesterday. It was fun to catch up with Gordon.
Yeah.
And look, he's local. So you understand he gets this area. He's a sports fan. And he also understands the theme of the day. You're trying to afford these playoff tickets, baby. Well, you might have to refinance to make sure that happens. So
also don't be mad at Gordon because his picks didn't come home yesterday. He's got a theory. We're working on a theory.
It's okay.
It's not about a one-off. He'll be back to defend himself. Don't worry.
We'll make it work. MillerLending.com/theOG. That's our landing page. Get the process started. Take it to close. Gift basket from Raleigh Wine Shop is in the mix for you as well. Or call them directly at 919-447-3377. You're probably thinking, well, wait a minute. Aren't the rates like kind of high right now? I mean, they are what they are. But you know what? I can't say definitively. They're a hell of a lot better than those credit card rates.
I know this.
Joe knows this because he just closed on it this week.
Yep.
Easy process, right?
It was very easy. Also, just like, hey, here are your options, right? Like a lot of people would have been like, no, you got to do this.
Yeah.
Because I got a total refi, cash out all this. They have other options.
Uh-huh.
Now that's their specialty. Please don't get me wrong. But they're going to help you and give you the best deal possible for you to save the most money.
And you save all that money, you know what you can do with it. Go to Roback and just outfit yourself.
Oh, I don't think I've ever shown you the wolf pack.
I got one sent to me. I got one. It's good, dude.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
The city of Oaks
I don't
one,
think that really did anything for anybody. But
that's fine. It's fine. I don't know. Maybe like there's something on the internet for everybody, Joe.
True.
They might want to see that Chewbacca chest, buddy.
There we go.
I don't know. You're not.
Jankowski, they'd rather. Yeah. It's a thing.
Apparently he's okay because I know he left the game yesterday.
Yeah.
I know Brendan Moore said after the game that it wasn't anything serious.
That's good.
So funny story.
There can't be any curses on this program.
Funny story. I was editing the Jankowski conversation while I was at the Polar Ice House in Cary on Monday night.
Hopefully the Wi-Fi is better there than Invisalign. Has to be.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. The Invisalign Wi-Fi is terrible.
Brutal.
So I was there. I'm not going to say who it was, but one of the hockey moms that I know saw the laptop open. I was editing this, and I started the conversation. I was going to close the laptop. She goes, "No, leave that open." I go, "Oh, I see you. I see you." Gordon suggested that the next time we talk to a shirtless hockey player, you and I also have to be shirtless.
No one wants to.
No, in fact, we should just be wearing Roback in these.
Yes,
in these interviews.
I was.
That's what you should do. So go to Roback.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. They got new designs dropping all the time. They're also bringing back designs too, which are great. So it all starts at the website, RHOBACK.com. Go to Roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. All right, let's go back to the OG sports phone, shall we? Call it 919-444-2211. I don't sing it like Brian, though.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Got a text from a 919. Whoever runs the official Canes app is fast with the updates because they spoiled the final score 20 seconds before it was on my TV. Hey, man, there's delays. Streaming delays, cable delays. That app is on it, man.
Gotta be.
Absolutely on it. Just turn off your phone. Lock in. I don't care. By the way, because this is a thing we mentioned the governor earlier and how the former governor and how he doesn't want to have these things spoiled. Am I a weirdo in that I don't mind that the outcome is spoiled? Because my brain is more wired in the, like, this was a thing with streaming.
Yes.
Where it's like,
Still is.
Streaming, well, it used to be like 2 minutes behind. It's a little bit better now. I would say it's about 30 seconds or so.
I'm still working
on the Hulu
with that old
Live.
gas. Yeah.
Fair enough. And there's just like, social media is way ahead of the feed. I'm like, I get that part, but I actually like knowing what happened so that when I like,
you are a sicko though.
I'm a weird sicko.
Yeah.
So if I get the alert that, Jaccob Slavin scored the game winner, I'm like, okay.
I know what to look for.
Let me stop what I'm doing, stop being distracted, and watch as it unfolds, and I have a better idea of what I'm looking for. Am I a sicko?
Well, when you're by yourself, that makes sense. But if you're like watching it with a group of people in a room full of people, like you don't want that spoiled.
Well, don't be an ass and be like, hey guys, guess what? You won't believe what's gonna happen. Don't be that guy. I think we can all agree.
Mm-hmm.
Do not be that guy. Let's see. From a 336. Hey, Joe, Greensboro resident here, seeing all the talk about the minor league team coming to the Triad, the Gargoyles. Just curious how teams like that get affiliate status with NHL teams. We did talk about this with Doug a little bit. Hopefully some of that stuff answered your questions. All right, let's go back to the actual voicemail, shall we? This is from a 619. I want to say this came in just before. Looking at the time step, this came in before overtime.
Man, 40 chests there by the Caps. The only thing guaranteeing 0 goals will be scored by the Canes in the final 2 minutes would be to put them on the power play. Didn't even get a shot off. I mean, I would expect another crossbar. My count is 5 tonight, but they couldn't even get one on. I mean, Caps know their opponent. Hopefully, we stay full strength on both sides the rest of this game and put it away in overtime.
Are we big in San Diego? Did you just say it was 619?
619.
Nice.
I mean, call from the past, but we saw how the future played out. Canes did hold it down. By the way, the reason why I wanted to play that call with the timestamp is I think it ties back to the main theme of today's show, and that this is going to get used to it.
Yeah.
I think most people understand it. The Caps know the Canes know the Caps, and that's how it's going to play out. 2-919.
JJ! It's Alex in Washington, D.C. from North Carolina, holding it down in the Imperial Corps. Just here to shout out the Canes for the Game 1 victory. I didn't know if they could do it because of the overtime. Everyone knows, right? But just calling in to say that let's go Canes. Keep it up. Love the defense. Would love a little more offense, but I'll take a 2-0, right? It don't matter, to me at least. So let's go Canes. Keep it up. And shout out to JJ for the podcast. Love you guys. Keep it up. And, I'll be here every game. So I'm going to call back every game. Win or lose. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
I love that.
Supports our theory that we'll have more traffic this round, more interest. Washington.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It hits our sweet spot because as I posited last night,
mm-hmm.
the true birth of the After Dark was from that building in Washington.
It was.
That is our building.
Okay.
Rod won there. The Wolves won there. We won there because that's where the After Dark became a thing. It's not NC State. It's us.
It's us.
It's us.
Do you want to make the drive up?
No, because I was super frustrated by that.
You did not like that building.
Although the place across the street that Anthony finally took me to,
yeah,
the Asian sort of tapas type place.
Oh, I wasn't invited.
Okay, well, Patrick went. Patrizio,
I wasn't invited. Oh, stop. 20704.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Y'all smell that? No, that's not the smell of our Constitution. It's not the smell of the ashes of our Constitution or all that legal stinky weed. But that third period in D.C. was pretty stanky. Pretty stanky indeed. And we need to go ahead and do what our chicken shit Congress won't
draw up some articles of impeachment for treason because the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Jaccob Slavin, drove a dagger right through the heart of the Capitals. Canes in 4.
It does smell a lot like weed up in DC.
Yeah, I'm now having flashbacks to that walk back to the hotel. I was pretty stoned by the time I got back. Although, sidebar here.
Yeah.
Did you see anywhere to actually purchase marijuana in DC, or is there like on a dispensary?
Wait a minute.
Type system?
I'm sorry. No, it was in New York. When we were in Brooklyn, we went into a
same
spot.
with Washington though. But Brooklyn,
I don't remember
we found
I don't remember you going
gummies.
into a spot. Yeah, I was going to say
Washington. I didn't see anything.
I think we just weren't looking.
Okay.
I don't think we were looking.
Okay.
Simple as that. But if you're looking for the goods, you know where you can go here.
The Nature's Relief.
Nature's Relief. They bring
Garner.
They bring you the OG sports phone. Go to my spot, which is over in the off of Glenwood, across from Pleasant Valley. I was Holly
Ridge.
Holly Ridge. Thank you. It's by O'Malley's. Okay, just go. It's right next door. So just go there.
Peddler O'Malley's. Yeah.
Hey man, take a gummy, go to Peddler, and crush that salad bar.
Whoa.
That's something we got to do. That's summer. That is summer protocols.
Now you can get Rod gummy and see what happens at the Peddler.
Do you think that man who treats his body as a temple?
No.
You hand them something that looks like a watermelon, a little gummy that looks like it's like shaped like, and it's like got the little design. And like, no, Rod.
He'd be like, there's sugar in there. It wouldn't be,
but
it would be the sugar.
But I can point to Rod. Hey, Hometown Heroes got a sugar-free option, which is what I use.
There we go.
That's what I use. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll see you for an OG Live brought to you by the Butcher's Market on Thursday. The Puck Daddy's going to drop. Oh, wait, he's not that anymore. Greg Wyshynski is going to drop on by. Hating ass Greg Wyshynski.
There we go.
He'll be dropping by tomorrow's show. See you then.